Starting with your breathing, just maybe let go of anything you need to let go of. On an exhale, I can come out as laughter, a sigh, a sound. And then take in what you are wanting, what you are going towards, what you need in your inhale. Take it in. Follow the water toward its source. Imagine that you have a source and you're going towards it as you go up the river. Each time the river twists or turns around the corner, there's a new landscape. There's something drawing you on because you turn the corner and it's a lit up grassy bank along the river, or then you turn the corner again and it's rocky waterfalls. And that's got a different sound, a different feel. And then keep on going. Maybe as the river kind of starts getting smaller, there are less springs feeding it. You're getting closer to the source. It becomes more of a brook, more of a stream. And as it gets smaller, you might find this spot where there's a hemlock forest canopied over the stream, over the brook, like a tunnel, like a dark tunnel. You go through that tunnel. Maybe you come through that tunnel on the other side. There's pasture, a farm coming right up to the edge of the water. Keep on going. You might have to start climbing uphill. It's tricky at times. You might be walking alongside the river or the stream. Other times you might have to kind of walk in the water or hop from rock to rock. It's fun, really. It's just going towards the source. And each twist, each turn draws you on what's around the next corner. And then maybe you never get there. It's really just about the process. But let's say we do. Let's say we're there. We find the source, and the source is water, a spring coming out of a rock on the side of a mountain. What do? Do you drink the water? How do you drink it? Do you get down and drink it straight from there? Do you cup it in your hand and drink it from your palms? Do you take some of your palms, splash it on your face? Maybe you just take a droplet of water and put it on your other palm. Let it sit there. Look at the sunlight in that droplet of water. See what it has to offer. Maybe take a droplet of water and put it on your third eye. It opens. You've arrived. Welcome back. Here. We never left. It's always here. It's always now. You can't actually get to the future. This is the wild thing. The future is this idea, but each time we arrive at what we think the future is, we're still in the present moment. It's a little bit like a river. The river's waters are always different. You think that you're looking at a river, you're sitting by a river, and it's this river. It might have a name and sort of an identity that way. It looks the same. It's the same kind of eddy over there, water cascading over that rock there, turn over there with a little bit of grass growing where the sun comes through the canopy enough to grow that grass. Maybe there's an elderberry tree growing right next to that. But the water you're looking at and listening to is always different water. It's never the same water. But it's always itself. It's a little bit like us when we're breathing. It's never the same breath. It's never the same air. And yet it's so close to us. When you think about something, a statement like, what's closer than your own breath? I mean, that's intimate. The water is essential to the river. It's not a small thing. It is the river. Without the water, there is no river. And yet it's never the same water. But it's always itself. This is leading to a story about me getting lost and finding something extraordinary. I headed out back here up the mountain behind my house in Vermont, and the snow had just melted, and there was kind of this is more of a brook, of a stream. I was kind of haphazardly following that up the mountain, at times getting distracted and lost, also looking for good footing because it was a bit muddy with most of the snow melted. Eventually, after losing my breath and feeling burn in my legs, really getting up a good portion of this mountain, I found what I would call a holy site, just an amazing spot. Old oaks, kind of the branches twisted in unusual formations, a little waterfall, trickle of a waterfall, but coming down steeply over slick rocks. Many old trees right there, just kind of gnarled in this particular way and growing up this particular way, as they do sometimes in extreme terrain like that. Their survival, the way their survival looked, the tree's survival was really beautiful and striking and powerful to me. Their method of survival, their method of growing in that situation. And I just stopped there. I was leaning against a tree, just really kind of disoriented, kind of lost. I didn't know where I was exactly. And then this tree up on the bluff above me moved. Now I was really lost. Now I was really confused. The tree moved. What is... and then I realized, oh, that's not a tree. That's a moose. And that kind of happens to me every time I see a moose. They're just so much bigger than I remember or expect. And so it's like I'm always mistaking them for something else. Is that a horse? Or is that a tree? This time I thought it was a tree. It had been standing there, and I had been standing there, and it moved, and what's this tree moving? It's a moose. Wow. I mean, I'm already kind of in that state of mind because of the spot that I was telling you about. Now, moose have a reputation of being the most dangerous animal in the woods. I, however, like to question things. I think simple things that are delivered to you like that, like moose, dangerous, stay away, be careful. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure and I know that there's truth to that, but there's also more to the truth. I know that also they're more dangerous in certain times of year, in certain situations, like they're protecting their young. So I just decided to play a little bit. And I had a bottle that was mostly empty, a glass bottle that I was drinking from. So I blew a note across the top of the bottle the way you can turn it into a flute. And the moose moved in response a little bit. And I kind of followed at a decent distance. And we kept on doing this. And I started, humming a song along with the note that I was blowing over the bottle. And every time the moose would move, and then it would stop, and it would wait, and I would get a little closer, and then I would make another round of this song, and back and forth. And I was really getting lost now because I was just absorbed in staying in the best distance from the moose, but also staying connected to the moose. I also was aware of if things went awry, what you're supposed to do in response to a moose chasing after you. So I was keeping that in mind, which we can get into that. But so yeah, we did this dance back and forth, and it was going well. And eventually the moose stopped at a little further distance. It stopped and I could feel like it was trying to communicate something to me. And it did one of these sounds. I don't know how to imitate it, but a little bit of a release like we were doing before we inhaled. But its release was, it's hard for me to imitate that, but I think you get the idea. I almost interpreted it as we've arrived. So I looked around, and there was a rock on the ground right near me with water spouting out from it. The moose had led me to the source of that stream. And it wasn't just you can come across sources of streams, springs that are just kind of muddy messes. But this was beautiful. So near the top of this mountain, just cleanly coming out of the rock. I couldn't resist. I emptied the bottle. I drank the rest of the bottle. There's only a sip left in there, and took some in that bottle. And I took a little sip. I don't know whether it was the water or this whole adventure with the moose, but this was the most delicious, cleanest, coldest, purest water. And it lit me up. And there's a lot of truth to that. Water in the wild like that from a fresh spring source, it is more alive, truly. It is what they call more structured, more coherent. It has healing properties. It has information. It has life. They say water is life. This is true. And if you really get into it, there is so much more to that statement. That's a portal into a whole world of what water is. And I was tasting something that I rarely get to taste, something straight from the wild. And yet there's this idea out there that's dangerous, just like the moose are dangerous. Lots of dangerous things here. I'm getting involved with all of them, and I'm feeling very alive and very healthy. So what is this thing? We've created a world. Our world has been kind of woven where it's so safe that it's dangerous. And many of the things that are deemed dangerous are actually closer to the source, closer to life force. It's all context, though, because I don't know if I would advocate drinking from a muddy swamp type spring or just from any puddle of water that has a certain smell or anything like that. No, but the context of this matters. And it's just this blanket statement, don't drink water in the wild, but This was water spouting out of a rock, just from under a rock, but surrounded by rocks, basically through a crack in a bunch of rocks. Just water coming out. Clean, beautiful water near the top of a mountain. In that context, the water, I mean, I still only took a little sip and then carried a whole bottle of it home. And then later, once, a day or two later, once I knew it was good, I drank a little bit more. And then eventually I was drawn to the same spot and filled up and knew it was good and drank right away. But so I did it systematically, and it is a certain context. But it is interesting that there are so many things in this world that are actually deeply healing to us and at our roots of who we are and what we are a part of that have been called dangerous. Another one is the sun. Don't go out in the sun, it's bad for you. They they say. But it's interesting again, that very thing, the sun, is healing. That very thing, the sun, in the right context. If you get the sun in the morning, if you get it but receive it, if you're out there for it, and your eyes aren't covered, you're not behind a window, and you're not necessarily directly looking at the sun, although there is a thing, sun gazing, but you can be in the shade and you're still getting it because the sun is getting, the light from the sun is getting everywhere. If you're getting that through your retina, it triggers a whole cascade through resonance. The retinal hormonal pathway. It is phenomenal what this does. How this sets you up for health, for your whole day, for your circadian rhythm, and also to receive sun later. Because if you are out there for the morning sun, the sunrise, ideally even before sunrise, I mean, I won't even get into the different types of twilight there are. And there's nautical twilight, civil twilight, astronomical twilight. Wow. It's just, yeah, we won't go there. But so if you're out for sunrise and then an hour after sunrise, the UVA wavelengths, if you kind of orchestrate this and you're out there for more of the full spectrum of light throughout the dynamic difference of the sun's light throughout the day, then the sun actually isn't dangerous for you. The sun is actually healing because it sets you up. For instance, if you're out there in the beginning of the day, it vasodilates your cells, which brings them closer to the surface so they can actually receive what leads to the vitamin D. But that's also a whole other conversation. But it also sets you up to receive sun safely and not have it be damaging the same way that it's spoken about. And then there's the issue of where the tests of the sun being bad for you come from. I mean, it doesn't even come from testing the sun. It comes from testing artificial light in a lab with nocturnal mammals, rodents. That's where that evidence comes from. So the whole thing is a little bit bunk that it's dangerous. But people still kind of take that in and avoid the very thing that is healing. It's the same way with this spring, the top of the mountain spouting from a rock. It's the same way with getting lost. We do everything to never get lost. We have the maps devices and this and that. It's all plugged in. It's all set up so that no one's getting lost anymore. I would say getting lost in the right context could lead to something extraordinary. Enjoy.